Today, I think the reputation of Wall Street, at least in my 40 years, is the lowest I've ever seen. With your experience in Wall Street, then going to Washington, and as you pull away and look back, what do you think Wall Street needs to do to repair their reputation?
I wish I knew. You go back from the beginning of time. I was reading, as long as there have been capital markets, not the beginning of time, but as long as there have been capital markets and banks, when there are, this isn't to excuse the mistakes that have been made on Wall Street, because there's just a lot of blame to go around, and plenty on Wall Street, and the regulatory system, housing policies in the United States. We could list all the things, but from the beginning of markets, the reason there's so many overseas Chinese is because they would kill the bankers in the old days there when there were problems. I mean, there's always going to be problems. I think that banks and capital markets are so important. They've taken hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. There's so much good they do. So the question is, how does it come back? And I think slowly, and just remembering the things that you and I know and have talked about, that capital markets are based on confidence, and investor confidence and trust comes from doing not only what's legally required and obeying the letter of the law, but that is doing what's right and feels right, and being able to make the necessary changes, acknowledge when there have been mistakes, but then move on. And I think that part of one thing that all of us missed, I talked with to a group of press the other night, a dinner where the press was being, self-critical. What could we have done better, and so on. And a number of people said one of the things they missed was the anger in the American public that all of us missed, because we never made the connection between Wall Street and Main Street. Mm-hmm. I was never able to communicate that. I certainly didn't I wasn't trying to bail out any bank or an investment bank. The reason we did this was because of the American people were going to pay the price if the system collapsed. And that point wasn't made. Mm-hmm. And so in our country, we've all learned that when people take risks, the risk takers bear the losses. Right. And of course, now that it's in the banks and with all these, and I think compensation has always been out of whack. I think you and I both believe that on Wall Street. And now after what's happened, I think people are understandably angry. And so that's why I press so hard for this regulatory reform and the resolution authority, because I think we can never go through a period again where taxpayer money comes in to do anything other than liquidate.